Vishishtam Vande Guru Paramparam. Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sagaviriyam Karavavahai Tejasvi Vinadidamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Puranamunina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്യായിनीം Amba Tvāmanusandadhāmi Bhagavad Gīte Bhagavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutara Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopaniषदैहि Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthitatadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidusurasuraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Shloka number 40. I will read. You can repeat. अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्माः सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृष्णम् अधर्मो विभवत्युत अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसंकरः संकरो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरोष्येषाम् लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियाः दोषैरेतैः कुलघ्नानाम् वर्णसंकरकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्माः कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः Arjuna, who has the problem of raga, the attachment to the relatives, that to excessive attachment, and that raga led to the problem of shoka, grief, and because of this raga and shoka, he is under the spell of moha, confusion, delusion, seeing things wrongly. And under this moha, he is seeing dharma as adharma and adharma as dharma. As a kshatriya, it was his duty to protect dharma, even at the cost of fighting a war. But he is seeing that war as adharma. Running away from the battlefield, running away from any responsibility is adharma, inappropriate. but he is seeing that as dharma. So what is wrong is seen as right, and what is right is seen as wrong. And generally our buddhi is supposed to guide our mind when the mind is becoming emotional. And buddhi may try to do it, but when emotions are too strong, buddhi cannot overpower or cannot direct the mind. Buddhi accepts its defeat and joins the mind. Sometimes what happens, you cannot win the person, you join the person. You form the alliance with that person. You cannot defeat that party, so you join that party, so you will win. So our intellect does that. Intellect, instead of directing the emotional mind, the mind which is under the spell of emotions, excessive emotions, instead of directing, it joins and gives the arguments. So the emotional aspect of the mind is now backed up by this intellectual capability, and therefore you justify your emotions. You come out with so many arguments to justify your emotional response. The response which is purely based on emotions and not viveka, not proper discretion. And that is what Arjuna is doing. And he gives so many arguments. And some of the arguments, they are proper in a particular context. But since these arguments are coming out of a weak mind, the mind which is under the spell of emotions, that arguments lose their strength. It is something like a soldier is afraid of fighting the enemies and he says, I believe in ahimsa. I came back. Why? Because I believe in ahimsa. That is not correct. Ahimsa paramo dharma. But it is not to justify the weakness. Between being the coward and even himsaka, it is better to be the one who involves some himsa. So ahimsa is a value, but it is not absolute value. Ahimsa is a value in a particular context. You don't hurt somebody for your ragadveshas. To fulfill my likes and dislikes, I don't hurt. That is ahimsa. If this duty, my duty itself warrants some type of himsa, it is not only permitted, it is encouraged. Like as I gave the example, doctor will be doing some himsa on the body of the person. He will be putting a cut, bleeding will happen. But that is permissible. Not only permissible, that is how he has to do it. He should not say, no, I cannot put a cut. So what I did, I just put some, some iodine something, put it and close it, and operation over. No, because I could not put a cut. That is not that doctor will not be glorified. After he comes to the room, and doctor goes to the patient and told, I was supposed to do surgery, but I did not have the heart to put a cut on your body. So what do you think patient will say? Patient will say, thank you very much. He will say that? I don't think he will say. So ahimsa is a value, but it is not absolute value. It has to be followed appropriately. And sometimes people lose that appropriateness of application. And that is what happened with Arjuna. And then he gives arguments. As I said, some of the arguments have got sense. But since they are coming from this weak mind, therefore it is not justifiable. And Arjuna talks about the connection between dharma and family institute. I was using the word family life, so people may think family life is getting married, etc. So we are not talking about everybody should get married, etc. What we mean is family institution is very important. And for most of the people, 90-95% of people require family life. And for society, healthy, stable family is very important. For following dharma, for good self-esteem on the part of a child, family institute is very important. Because as a child, as a child, what will be the thinking? I am no good. Because child is very weak, helpless. But if child is treated properly by parents, with respect, with care, then child gets the feeling of self-worth. Psychologically, child will have healthy self-esteem. If parents are not having the respect to the child, not feeling blessed to have the child, not treating the child properly in the name of enforcing discipline, then child will develop very low self-esteem. In fact, what mother thinks about the child during pregnancy, that also affects the child. One lady was telling that, Swamiji, I had 2 sons, and third time when she conceived, she was expecting a girl child. And she again delivered third son only. And after some time, this third son is telling, Mom, you did not want me, you wanted to throw away me, but somehow I came. You imagine? That thoughts must have influenced the child so much. After the child was able to understand something, so he got that feeling. So you can imagine that how much influence is there of the parents on the self-esteem of a child. That is why it is very important that child is treated properly. Treated with the feeling of being blessed to have the child. With respect, with care. And for all this to happen, the family institute is very important. So for the self-esteem of a child, it is very important. If self-esteem is not there in a child, then even he grows up and has a lot of achievement in the life, but still this self-loath, this self-rejection will not go away so easily. Of course, as a jiva, everybody will have some self-non-acceptance, but the child who has not been treated properly in early days, that child will have more self-rejection. And therefore, proper family institute is very important for self-esteem of a child. Not only that, for values and attitudes, also this family institute is very important. Because values are not something which all values cannot be communicated verbally. They are to be seen by the people in action. When values are seen in action by the children, they imbibe. Similarly, attitude of reverence to elders, attitude of reverence to the teachers, that they will imbibe by seeing the parents doing namaskara. Seeing that when the elderly people comes, we get up and we do namaskara, then child will learn. Now we have a small baby of our priest. So the mother does namaskara, the child does. And one interesting thing I see is, while doing namaskara, she will look at the mother. Like see, I have done that. As if she is like being photographed, So child learns. And for all this, family institute is very important. Not only that, cultural values. Certain cultural values of respecting trees, respecting cow, all those cultural values will come only when there is family institutes. Because child doesn't know the language in the initial stage. Child will be learning more from non-verbal communication. And they say non-verbal communication is more powerful than verbal communication. And therefore, for all these cultural values, social values, and attitude, self-esteem, family institute is very important. Not only family, simple family, healthy, stable family is very important. And that is what Arjuna is saying, that if this war happens, then the leaders of the families will be destroyed, and then families will be overpowered by adharma. And one important aspect of dharma, which is rituals, will not be followed. And when rituals are not followed, then the consideration of having the compatible partner in terms of dharma will go away. In Indian culture, they used to see this, that they will marry a person who has got compatibility in terms of the religious values, because the religious practices have to be common, otherwise it will be difficult. See, in our tradition, when good things are being celebrated, then we light the lamp. So in the birthday, we light the lamp. Whereas in the other culture, what? They put out the candles. Poo, 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 poo. I really feel it is so unhygienic, because you are blowing out and your some saliva will come. It falls on the cake, and from that cake you give it to everybody, prasadam. Whereas you light the lamp, Light the lamp is what? From darkness you are going to light. That is our culture. And there what? From light they go to dark. One more year of going into darkness. That is, so how the child, what to value child will imbibe? If mother is a Hindu and father is something different, or vice versa, child gets confused. Will not have this religious customs. And in fact, nowadays they say that when these two people of different religions, they marry, they say up to 10 years, we will not have any religious practices forced on the children. And afterwards, we will allow the children to decide. Means when they are supposed to be given these samskaras, cultural values, that time they are deprived. And it will create, later on also, child is not able to decide, even at the age of 10 also fully not decide. So remains confusion. He starts his life with confusion and continues to have confusion. Therefore, Arjuna said that religious values will be followed when family is there. And if religion loses its importance, then the compatibility in marriage will not be seen. And therefore what? There will be admixtures of all the classes of society. Not only classes, nowadays admixture of the dharmas. Because I don't mind Swamiji, all are human beings. And that is how there is a Varna Sankara, confusion of the classes of the society. And by that, Jati Dharmaha Kula Dharmascha Utsadyante. Utsadyante means destroyed. In Shastra, we talk about two types of dharma. One is called Samanya Dharma, other is called Vishesha Dharma. Samanya Dharma means the dharma which are common to all, like Satya, Ahimsa, this truthfulness, honesty, non-violence, all these are called Samanya Dharma, to be followed by all appropriately. Other is called Vishesha Dharma, means particular duties, and they are to be followed based on one's social class and also based on the family he or she belongs to. So Vishesha Dharma is further of two types. One is called Jati Dharmaha and others are called Kula Dharmaha. So Jati Dharma represents Varnashrama Dharma. So Vishesha Dharma further divided into Jati Dharma and Kula Dharma. Jati Dharma means the dharmas, the duties of the class which a person belongs to. Kula Dharma means the duties which are followed by particular families to which he belongs to. And those Kula Dharmas and Jati Dharmas, which are Vishesha Dharma, will be destroyed when family institute is not followed. And therefore Arjuna says, Jati Dharmaha and Kula Dharmaha Utsadyante. And he uses the word Shashvataha, means long-lasting Jati Dharma and Kula Dharmas. They have been maintained for so many generations, but they will be destroyed. It is something like it takes so many years to grow a tree, but to cut the tree, it requires few hours. Nowadays, machine is there. It is finished. Similarly, this Jati Dharma, the Varna Dharma, Kula Dharma, the family traditions, all that will be destroyed. So many parents, they have these worries that our children, they are not following anything. They will be marrying somebody we do not know. Anybody. And therefore what? The family traditions will be lost. And further it will lead to some more harmful consequences that he talks about in the next shloka. Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vasaha bhavatityanu He says, Hey Janardana. Krishna is called Janardana. Anushruma, we have heard from the Shastras, from our elders, we have heard. And when Arjuna uses this word, it shows his Shraddha in Shastra. Because many things told by Shastra, we may not be able to see it physically through our sense organs. In fact, Shastra is supposed to tell that thing alone which we cannot figure out by ourselves. So therefore, following the Shastra requires lot of Shraddha. And Arjuna has that Shraddha. Therefore, it says Anushruma. We heard. What we have heard? Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam. Of human beings whose kula dharma, family traditions, are utsanna, destroyed. Because of the confusions of the mix-up of the varnas, mix-up of these dharmas, the family traditions are destroyed. The people, one person is Hindu, marries some Islam or somebody or Christian, and then what? That family tradition is gone. Or marries some other class, then what happens? Particular family tradition is not there because confusion is there. Therefore, Utsanna Kula Dharmana. The people whose family traditions are gone, and by Kula, it represents the Varnashrama Dharma. So, Varna Dharmas are destroyed. Then, for such people, Narake Aniyatam Vasaha. What will happen to them? When Dharma is not the norm for leading your life. Dharma is the norm for deciding your karma, for deciding your response. Then what will be the norm? Some basis of your response should be there. The basis will be only artha and kama. Means more money and more pleasure. That is the basis of my life. Everything I decide based on what? Only these two things. According to our Shastra, Dharma should be the main basis for deciding your action, deciding your response. You pursue Artha and Kama, but in keeping with Dharma. That is why when we describe 4 Purusharthas, we describe what? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. But now Dharma part is gone. Then what will happen? Artha and Kama. Whatever gives me more money, that I will do. Whatever gives me more pleasure, that I will do. And therefore, what will happen? The life will be lived based on instincts. In Hindi say, हम जो करेंगे दिल जो कहे. I will do what my heart says. And people think they are great. They say, Swamiji, I don't consider anyone Swamiji. Whatever my heart says, I do. And he thinks he is very great. Yes, if your heart is in tune with Dharma Shastra, very good. That is called spontaneous action. But if your life is not in tune with, your mind is not in tune with Dharma Shastra and you lead by your heart, then what will happen? A person will live like an animal only. Animals also live based on instincts. It is sitting and all of a sudden it says, no, let me go. So it will go. Let me bark, it will bark. So the life of a person will be like animals, leading only based on raga and dvesha. Whatever I like, I do. Whatever I don't like, I don't do. And when a person lives his life under raga and dvesha, then there are great chances of compromising with values, compromising with dharma. Because as you nourish your raga dvesha, what happens? Raga dveshas become stronger and stronger. This is a simple principle. Anything you give importance will become stronger. So if you give importance to raga dveshas while making choice about action and response, then what happens? Raga dveshas become important. Any family member who is always consulted for any decision, that family member will become strong in the family. Whoever is given importance will become more and more important. So raga dveshas will become so strong that a person will do adharma. Pressure of raga dveshas will be so much that he cannot but do adharma. Therefore, in the 3rd chapter, Bhagavan is going to say, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma. The raga dveshas will lead us to papam. And when papam is done, what is papam? Papam is invisible result of prohibited action. Invisible result of prohibited action. And therefore what will happen? This person does more and more adharmic activities and thereby he will be earning, accumulating more and more papa. And when more and more papa is there, then what will happen? In this present life itself, his life will be like Naraka. You see that what is happening to the people who are given to consumerism. Michael Jackson, you must have heard the name. He is a very good example that what materialism can do to a person. He was so much given to that. And his life, his nose also was falling off. That was the situation. So much pressure. They say he earned in millions and spent in billions. And therefore he got into problems. He did not have money to give these basic things to his children. You cannot buy the Christmas gift for the children. That type of situation happened. Consumerism. Nowadays we have this, what? You take loan. Means what? For enjoying today, you commit for future. In our culture, that idea was never encouraged. Taking loan and enjoying, that was not our culture. If you have money, you enjoy. Nowadays, no, you don't worry. And then what happens? You take a loan for enjoyment, for trip and all. You just take loan, no problem. And afterwards, you are bound to work. And you always have so much insecurity because if you lose the job, your main problem is how will I pay the installments? A lot of pressure. And when pressure is there, then moonlighting has to be done. You know what is moonlighting? Then moonlighting happens. You know what is moonlighting? Moonlighting means doing extra work. You have one job and you do moonlighting. So that's a new word has come. So moonlighting is perhaps okay. That also you have to hide. And so many the wrong practices come into the picture. And then what will happen? According to our Shastra, when a person does more papam, then the punishment is not available in this human form, in this world. Therefore what? They are sent to special place where they will be given punishment. And those places are called Naraka. Drunati klesham prapayati iti Naraka. So we have got not one, we have got about 28 Narakas. In Bhagavata, the description is given. And the description is such, they said if person has done this papam, this Naraka. If this papam, this Naraka. So many people when they read, they say, Swamiji, I will go all Naraka. So, Narake Aniyatam Vasaha. There will be long, the Vasaha means stay in Naraka, in the hell. Aniyatam for very long time. But one thing we must note here, unlike other religion, we don't say that you will have permanent condemnation. There is no permanent hell. As there is no permanent heaven, there is no permanent hell also. Means what? He will be there for a long time, but from there also he will come back. We don't have any loka permanent. There is no permanent citizenship anywhere. Person will come back, but he will be staying there for a long time. Or Narake Niyatam Vasaha. Definitely that person will live in Naraka if he has done lot of papam. So bhavati, vasaha bhavati, iti anushushruma. So what Arjuna is saying, that when dharma is gone from our life, adharma will overpower and adharma will make us do papam, accumulate papam, which will lead to naraka. And therefore what? We should not allow this kula dharma, varna dharma to get destroyed. So his arguments are correct. But this argument he is using to justify his weakness of attachment. That is why it is wrong. Otherwise, argument is correct that if family tradition is destroyed, then adharma will prevail and the adharma will lead to naraka. That is correct. But he is saying for justifying his decision of running away from the battlefield. As I said, somebody cares for the industrial growth of the country, very good thing. But he is giving the argument of industrial growth to justify his weakness of smoking. That is not correct. That if I don't smoke, then some people will lose the job because I am smoking very heavily, every day 10, 15. And therefore, every year if you count how many, and seeing me, my other friends also will stop, then so many people will stop, then industry will stop. Lot of unemployment. Already we have unemployment problem. So I think by smoking I am contributing to industrial growth. So what he's telling is true. There's an industry, tobacco industry is there. But for that you don't have to smoke. You can say I am smoking and indirectly they also help. But for their job you need not smoke. We can find other jobs also. If you develop good habits of going to the temple, doing karpura and also we'll have that industry promoted. Why not that? You can promote some good industry. You need not promote this. But generally people do this. To justify weakness, they give arguments. So Arjuna was doing that. And now in the next shloka, Arjuna is emphasizing his decision. And in fact, he is showing his regret that why did we think like going for a war? We should have thought in the beginning also. What I am thinking now, that is the right thinking. Earlier we had a wrong thinking. That's what he says. Aho batamahat papam.
Aho बत महत्पापम्
कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयम्
कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयम्
यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन
यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन
हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः.
हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः.
He says, Aho bata, alas. Oh my God, that line, oh my God. This aho and bata are used to indicate the shock, the feeling of shock and feeling of sadness. Oh my God, we were doing like this? How come we thought of doing that? So that's what Arjuna is showing his regret of coming to the battlefield. Now he has decided, at least for the time being, he has decided going for the war is not good thing. In fact, we should have thought earlier, I regret that I came to the battlefield. We should not have arrived this. Constant guilt is a sign of samsara. As long as you have got this ignorance and ignorance-based wrong conclusions, guilt will be there. Many parents have got the guilt, we did not bring up the child properly. Many people have got guilt that we did not take care of our parents properly. And in fact, sometimes guilt is what? Oh, if we had taken him to that hospital, he would have survived. We did not do it. All this. If I was there, I would have done this. All those things. Constant guilt. That is a sign of samsara. Whatever you do, you always think, oh, I would have done this way, I would have done this way. Generally, I give this example. When I go for Diksha, nowadays I don't go. Bangalore I was going sometimes. And this lady has done fairly well. But still she will say, Swamiji, I could have done this. It's okay, it is what you have done is fine. But always there is some guilt. As Puja Swamiji used to say, as long as you have got kartrutvam, the sense of doership, guilt cannot be avoided. And as long as you have got bhoktrutvam, hurt cannot be avoided. You always feel hurt. Why did he do like this? He did not look at me. The way he looked at me was not good. So always some reason you find out to feel hurt. I always tell people that why are you finding the reasons to be unhappy? Find the reasons to be happy. No, they always find out something. Oh, it happened like this, it happened like this, he did not do like this. But why Swamiji can do? He did like or he did, but you can be still happy. It is their problem. Why are you punishing yourself for their problems? But this is samsari. Samsari's lakshana is that, finding out the reasons to be unhappy, somehow or the other. Similarly, feeling guilty. Arjuna also is feeling guilty about coming to the battlefield. And he says, Aho bata, oh my God, vayam we vyavasitaha, decided and engaged. What? Kartum, to do. Mahat papam, great papam. Actually, what he is engaged in doing is a punya, right thing to do, because he is doing his duty, and doing the duty brings punya. But now, because of adharma and because of moha, what he says, my God, we are engaged in doing mahat papam. Why mahat papam? Because this action is going to lead to kula nasha. Kula nasha will lead to kula dharma nasha. Kula dharma nasha will lead to adharma abhibhava, means overpowering of adharma. And that will lead to these women being given to wrong practices. That will lead to varna sankara. That will lead to pitrus being deprived of shraddha and tarpana. And that will lead to this naraka on the part of so many people, the present generation, future generation, past generation, all will be deprived. That is why Mahat Papa. So, my God, we are engaged in doing great Papam. And he thinks, that this papam we are engaged in because of yat, that rajya sukha lobhena. That is because of the lobha, the greed for the sukha, the comforts of rajya, kingdom. So this is also sign of moha. Actually, this Mahabharata war was not for getting the kingdom. It was for the protection of dharma, the destruction of adharma and adharmic people. But he now concludes that Rajya Sukha Lobhena, because of this greed for Rajya Sukha, the comforts of kingdom, Udyataha, we are ready to hantum, to kill Swajanam, our relatives. My God, we are engaged in doing a wrong thing, great papam, that we are ready to kill our own people. So Arjuna is highlighting the idea of lobha. Lobha means greed leads to papam. Greed is an expression of raga. People have so much greed and therefore they do still wrong practice, even though for them it is enough, but still greed is therefore more. Therefore they do wrong thing. And so you see, many people they cheat these financial institutes and they run away. They could have lived simple life and a comfortable life also, but they want more and more, and therefore they do all this. So lobha leads to papa. Lobha papasya karanam. So Arjuna says, because of lobha, we were ready to kill our own people. And he uses the word swajanam. That is the weakness of Arjuna. He has been using the word swajanam is our own people, our own people. So his problem is not that he has to kill people. His problem is he has to kill swajanam, his own people. Otherwise, it is not the first time Arjuna is fighting the war. He has fought so many battles and never he had this problem. But this time his attachment to the relatives is so strong. Therefore, he is under the spell of shoka and moha. But swajana word repeatedly used indicating his weakness. And now Arjuna is saying that I don't want to fight this war. But somebody may say, if you don't fight, then they will come and kill you. Because war already declared, conches have been blown, war is declared, and therefore you say, I don't want to fight, then Duryodhana says, very good, he will come and behead you. Finished. So they will kill you because war is declared. Arjuna says, I don't mind that. Even if they kill me, I am okay. In fact, it is better. That's what he's going to say in the next shloka, which we'll see in the next class. We have but Skanda Shashti Puja. So today we'll conclude a little early, and if possible, we'll go and please participate in the puja. Next week, next Sunday, we have what anniversary celebration. So this class will not be there. We can participate in that function, which is from 11 to 12:30 in the lecture hall. And on the 13th, we have some function and we have some engagement, and therefore this Sunday class will be 9 to 10. That day only. The 13th November, the Sunday class will be 9 to 10. Only that Sunday. Afterwards, again, we'll switch over to 11:30 to 12:30. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti